is that a viable approach in Google?
Great question. So certainly you can make use of the online versions of Word and Excel. They don't have everything that the desktop versions have. Personally, I'm not up to speed with how good they are these days because I haven't even tried them in a couple of years. There is another option though, and that is that you can use the Android versions on your Chromebook.
Oh, okay.
So there's the
How would I
Android
do that?
version of Word and the Android version of Excel, and I'm 99% sure that your existing 365 subscription will give you access to those because you just sign in with your Microsoft account, and if you've got a license, then you're off to the races. Next, there are some emulators that will allow you to run Windows apps on your Chrome device. There's an open source piece of software called Wine, W-A-N-E, which was wrapped into a program called Crossover. And that Crossover app for Chrome lets you run, I think Microsoft is probably one of the number one apps that people want to run. It'll let you run the Windows version of Microsoft on the Chrome device. Now, how will that run on 4 gig of RAM? I don't know. But if you were someone who really wanted it, that would be one option. The third option is using remote desktop back to a computer that's running it, which will run surprisingly well as long as your internet connection is fine. So Microsoft, yes, on a Chromebook, not always the most amazing experience, but there are options.
And then the second question, actually, I'm writing down a note to self. I'll just ask you, when we wrap up with this call, are you able to take a transcript of this call, create a summary of this? I'm assuming this is going into a Google Drive somewhere.
Right. I was hoping that Gemini had already done it, and I didn't click the Gemini button.
Oh dear.
We've got a transcript, so we'll put we've got a transcript of every word, which we can drop in Gemini, and it'll do the same thing. It won't be automatic, but we'll get you a transcript, of course.
Cool. Okay, so here's the third question, or second question, part B. I have Notion and I have Slack, both of which were kind of given to me by more tech savvy, younger people. And I understand and appreciate their value. I have not really been able to organize it so it can organize me, specifically with Notion, but the communication in Slack as well. How can I connect those to the Google ecosystem, to my Chromebook, so that I can have a more integrated experience with those technologies?
Great question. What do you want to use Slack for, and what do you want to use Notion for?
Well, I get together with some really smart people on Wednesday mornings, including you, my friend, who communicate via Slack. And that's because we are all in different time zones around the world. I'm used to just sending emails. So that transition to Slack, or knowing when people comment or ask me a question or have something specific for me, I'd like to just know what's going on Slack while I'm sleeping, so that when I get up in the morning and other people are going to bed at that same time, I can stay in touch with what's happening on the Slack group.
Great, good question, and we will need to loop back to Loom as well, right?
Okay.
Sorry, what's the other one? Notion.
Loom and
Notion as well. Yeah. So this is like got to be careful not to offend, but this is a generational shift in communication, in technology. It's a generational shift in technology, and
delicately said. Thank you.
Email used to be the one place we would go to for our communication, right? And you would triage that communication channel. I don't know, maybe half an hour a day, if you're really busy. And then you'd go about your work, and you could go and do your work, and you'd ignore email for the rest of the day. The problem we have now is we have Slack, we have Facebook Messenger, we have WhatsApp, we still have our email, we have phone calls and iMessage and text message from mum. We've got a million other platforms that are constantly hounding us for things. And in our business, when I'm working with my team, we have a rule. We stick to our own internal communication channels, and that's it. We try and block out the rest of the world so we can get work done together. Now, that's got its own problems with people interrupting each other within an office, right? But as much as possible, we try and block out the rest of the world. And the philosophy there is we try and keep the communication channel down to 1 or 2 if we absolutely have to. So email is banned internally. We don't use email.
Okay.
We use primarily Asana for managing projects and tasks. And you could use Notion for that as well. It's, roughly equivalent to Asana. Notion's a bit more like a wiki. Asana is very task and project focused, but you can do almost the same with both. And then chat, and we happen to use Google Chat. We don't use Slack. Chat we use for when it's urgent, or when someone's late for a meeting, or when we want to send a message to everyone right now. We'll use chat for that. Hey everyone, it's blah blah's birthday. Let's all celebrate. Because we all work from home, right? 70 people all work from home, all in different locations. No one's in the office. No one can tap the other person on the shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I don't like email is everyone else in the world can add to that to-do list and add to that list, right? And when I'm trying to communicate with my team, I don't want to be distracted by the rest of the world. Secondly, I don't like Slack for the same reason. Slack is one of these multi-company organisms where if you're on Slack, all these other companies that are on Slack all of a sudden kind of start, messaging you as well. Now, that probably doesn't help you. That's my recommendation for companies and once you've got a team. But I'm hoping that might give you a bit of context in my philosophy. And my philosophy is block out the rest of the world that's not important to you, except when it's actually important. So, I keep Slack open for the one community of a couple of people that I, want to check in every now and again. But I would honestly prefer not to have it around. I certainly don't have notifications that pop up. I don't have sounds that pop up. The little icon changes from no color to a red color when there's a message there. But I could just as easily have it off my computer and check it on my phone at the end of the day, like I check WhatsApp at the end of the day when I sit down on the couch. I don't let it ping me during the day. If it's an emergency, I expect someone would call, except most of my friends are millennials and Gen Z and no one calls anymore. I'm in the hospital, I'm dying, in a text message, right? But apart from that, I expect, okay, if my phone's not ringing, it can't be that important. No one's died unless the phone's ringing, so I'll leave it and then I'll catch up with that. And the important people in my life know if it's an emergency, call, and then I'll answer, right? The challenge is that if you're in your position and, whether you're a sole trader or a consultant, you may have different clients or different people that you interact with or work with, texting you and messaging you and communicating with you on lots of different platforms. One way of trying to manage that is you can pull all of these different platforms into an app that tries to be a consolidated inbox for all of those platforms.
Mm-hmm.
I still think it's a little bit messy. If possible, if you can try and train some of your customers or your contacts or your colleagues to contact you through certain communication channels for when they need you for certain things, that can certainly be useful. But it is a modern challenge without easy solutions.
Okay.
Yeah, there are simple solutions like just uninstall Facebook Messenger from your phone and only check it once a week, on your computer. Simple solution, but not necessarily easy when, I've got to wait for that person to come and pick up the couch that I'm selling on Marketplace. I should really have the notifications on because I want to see those notifications. Or my Auntie Anne doesn't know how to use WhatsApp. So, I've got to have Messenger on. So when she's an hour away from my place, she can message me and I'll see it. That kind of shit, right? It's hard to get right. I cannot say that I've perfected it myself. But I do I use iOS and Android. You can do the same thing as well. But you can set up Do Not Disturb. You can set up, different profiles for when you're in work mode or home mode and allow different apps to ping or not ping. Things like that I do find useful. And thankfully, the AI stuff in the background, at least with iOS, will do things like, oh, hey, it looks like you use this app quite often when you're in work mode. Do you want to add it to the allowed app list in work mode? So little things like that, they're starting to do the thinking for you rather than having to go into tinker mode and spend an hour trying to set it up perfectly, because not everyone's a techo and wants to do that. And like you said on a call earlier this morning, sometimes you need someone to show you the map before you even know what to look for, or before you even know what button to press. So yeah, thankfully, these phones are getting smarter. They're watching our behavior and they're giving us, prompts now, it's useful.
Well, this has been really good for that map. Getting a view, not from 10,000 feet, but maybe from a few hundred feet of these are some specific things that I can do. I have some good solid next steps of what I want to do to get set up with Google, talk with you and your team a little more, and have a way of turning this small investment of this machine into something that can really help to reorganize and structure my life.
Yeah, awesome. And I'd say that like Notion's a great app to use and to start to get into. Personally, I'm a little more like task focused and a little bit more databasey as a person, and Asana's just that little bit more list based, which I tend to like. And we happen to use it for all our projects in the business, so I decided to stick with Asana for absolutely everything. I did make use of Notion for a while, and I see what's really great about it, particularly for those who have a lot of ideas that they want to dump or unstructured thoughts that they just want to put somewhere. It's excellent for that because you can click new page, it opens up a new wiki page, and you can just start typing and just start getting your stuff down and worry about organizing it later. So it's wonderful for that use. Whereas in Asana, because you may end up with hundreds or thousands of tasks, if you create a task and you don't put it in the right place immediately, you lose it. And then like if you don't go back to the right task list, you kind of got to be really organized with your filing to have it right. Now, if you've got a big team, that's essential because Notion is not great when you've got a really large team because it's too loose. It just gets too messy. It doesn't have that kind of like more regimented file organization or task organization. Anyway, but Notion's good for building what some people refer to as a second brain, which is where can I put all the digital stuff and have some kind of system. Now, there's a great framework that I came across in the last year or so, which is called PARA, P-A-R-A. It's a organization model. I don't know who came up with it or where it's from, but if you Google and find it, there's also a good PARA Notion. I don't know if it was a template or, here we go. There's some templates there. There's some YouTube videos on of course, our favorite website to find tutorials on getting it set up inside Notion. If you're interested in that, I'd recommend checking that out. That gives you a map of like, how do I organize my thoughts? How do I organize my second brain? And I use that framework roughly in what I use as Asana, but you would do the same thing as Notion. So I would see that as like your knowledge resource and organizing your brain. Then Slack is a communication channel. So like email is a communication channel, like other chat apps are a communication channel. It should be treated as such, and you should have good digital hygiene with that communication channel.
Well, I'm going to look into this PARA as well. Yeah, and then maybe another good video idea of that side-by-side comparison you were talking about with Asana and Notion. Because it really is useful to get that map of here's the fundamentals of what you need to know about both of these, rather than trying to read the promotional material and figure it out yourself. Someone who knows both of them and says, if you think this way, or if you're doing this type of project, here's the way to go versus this other.
If you're a bit more loosely organized and you like the idea of like a digital notebook with like loose leaf pages and stuff a little bit all over the place, but still somehow findable and searchable if you really need to find the thing, that's Notion. If you're a person who's militant about to-do lists and you want to do the thing and then cross it off one by one and give the thing to the person who needs to do the thing at the right time on the right day, that's Asana.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah, they can both kind of do both, but they're better at each. And for where you're at the moment, like business stage, I don't think you need a 300 task long task list to get yourself organized. I think you need somewhere digital to dump all your stuff, start to get some of your thinking organized into some systems-based thinking with your digital stuff, because you want to start delegating to editors potentially. You want to start managing your channel production. We can do another session and talk about those things, and maybe even build some stuff out in Notion, although I'm not the best Notion builder because I haven't done heaps in it lately. But that's all available with the tools that you have. And once you've got the map, then you can start delegating. Once you've got the data entered, you just change that assignee to somebody else, and then then it's their job to do it rather than you. Thank you so much for joining. If you are interested in being a part of another one of these, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. And if you're interested in actually being on a live consultation with me, you can apply. You can head to my personal website, go to moriarty.co. Just drop me a message on LinkedIn, say hello, and let me know you're interested in a consultation. I'll send you a form to apply. We've got some criteria just to make sure these are really valuable for the audience. But if not, we'll see you in the next one. Take care.